Good morning, students. So let's begin our lecture for today. This is a continuation of the previous lecture. Learning English by non-native speakers should start with the process of language acquisition, like the mother tongue, rather than language learning. So how should the non-native, which means a non-native speaker, which means a person who is not a native of a particular place or a country, this non-native speaker is learn English. How should this happen? It should begin with the process of language acquisition. Language acquisition is a process which can take place at any period of one's life. It refers to the acquisition, that is the learning or developing of a skill of one's native language during the first 6 or 7 years of one's life. Roughly, we could say that from birth to the time one starts school. So non-native speakers should begin with language acquisition and not language learning. Hence, the major focus shall be on acquiring the primary skill, that is listening. So listening is the major skill that is needed for language acquisition. A native speaker learns the language by listening to its utterances. So how a native speaker learns language? It is by listening to its utterances, meaning a spoken word, statement or vocal sound. The natural rhythms and patterns of intonation are internalized through listening. The natural rhythm, that is a strong, regular, repeated pattern of sound and patterns of the rise and fall of the voice in speaking, are absorbed how? Through listening. Listening is a conscious activity and requires the listener to actively get involved in it. So, listening is a conscious activity, that is the people who are listening is aware of the fact that they are listening to something and it needs the active participation of the listener. It requires focus, attention and a willingness to receive the message. In listening, the listener should be attentive and must be ready to receive the message. Without active listening, it will be nearly impossible to learn a language. So students do think it is possible to learn something. So students do think, is it possible to learn something? Here it is language without listening properly. Listening to language helps a learner understand not only the music of the language, but also other subtleties like pronunciation, which involves stress and intonation. Listening to English thus helps a learner understand the language. And it is not limited to that alone. Other features like pronunciation, which includes stress, to communicate clearly, stress is very important. Intonation, that is rise and fall of the voice in speaking, is also important. Listening extensively to English enables the learner in the acquisition of the language to perform other language activities like speaking, reading and writing. So listening to English in a large or detailed degree makes it possible for the learner to develop skills of the language to perform other language activities, and which are they? Speaking, reading and writing. Speaking is an active skill that requires a sincere involvement and commitment from the learner. The speaking is an active skill and it needs a wholehearted involvement and also a dedication from the learner. It demands basic language competency and a strong desire to master the language. The speaking demands the ability to speak basic language and a strong wish to acquire complete knowledge of the language. Consistent effort will give the desired results. So constant efforts will give the strongly wished results. Since English is an acquired language for the non-native speaker of English, reading, writing skills have received more attention in classrooms. As English is a learned or acquired language for non-native speakers, the skills like reading and writing have received more attention. In the altered reality of the overwhelming presence of internet, language learning can be made easier by exploiting the opportunities the web provides in learning the language. Altered reality, which means an artificial experience that consists of images, sounds, etc. So as in the presence of internet, language learning can be made easier as there are various opportunities provided by the web, by the internet, so which helps in the learning the language. This is all for today. Thank you.